Hi, this is Mahesh Kosuri. Here we are going to talk of SAP Business Warehouse. Yeah, in my last video, we have discussed of data source creation, right? The importance of the data source. Why do we need the data source? Let me open this HANA Studio because we work with the HANA Studio from the BW 7.5 onwards. We create all our objects, BW specific objects, we create using the HANA Studio, right? So here, yeah, it is getting opened. Okay, so this is the object we have created, right? Customer object we have created, and this is my BW server. If you click on here, it will ask you to enter the password because already we have connected to that one. Just only we need to log in. And let me pull some, I guess somewhere I have explained of the analytics where I explain. Ooh, somewhere I maintained the sheet. Okay, yeah. So this is the object we have created and we have maintained all these required properties for this one. Let me take off this one. I think in the previous video I have not shown that it is the info provider, right? So that's why I'm taking it out. I'm once again I'm activating it. We know it creates the tables, right? That's what we discussed. It creates attributes and a test and hierarchy, three tables based on the selection of these properties, right? If you do not select any of these properties, just it is, we can say like a single column dimension, we can say, or linear characteristic or something like that. They say. Okay, so I just activated these three so that you can see the attributes table, test table, and hierarchy table. I guess already I have created the data source also in the last session. That is the file type, data source. Here, vehicle master. In this vehicle master, I have created vehicle master component. Yeah, here is the vehicle master component, and this is my data source. Double click on it. Okay, this is my data source. You can see the extraction field and you can just recollect what are the properties I have selected here. Extractor specific properties or extraction properties. No delta, only full load I am maintaining here. Okay, I will explain you what is this delta process. Here data separation I maintain the comma because we are reading the comma separated file. After this, what we need to do now, we need to join this data source with the target object. That's what we discussed in the last session also, right? Let me take it to the, where is this? Okay, I will once again, once again here I will show you. Okay, so here is my data source. Here is my flat file, and This is my data source, and this is my flat file data. This is my flat file data. So this is my target, right? Where is my target? Let us keep our target. This is my target. Why I'm making it as the bigger one? Because we know this object will have three tables, right? This object will have three tables, and sorry. So these three tables, all these three tables are connected with ID. All these tables will have one common primary key, that is the ID and ID, and of course there is one more table, that is SID table, right? This is the SID table. SID table will have one ID. So this ID is the primary key. This is the primary key, and this ID. These are all the foreign keys, so that we are maintaining one relation. And now we are loading the data from data source to the target object. This is my target object. This is how we are loading the data from data source to the target object. Here is one question actually. Whether this flat file data is residing in my BW system at this level, that is the one question actually here. Residing in the BW system at the very first staging level. Okay, in the lower versions, actually, in the lower versions, there is a concept that PSE, persistent staging area. Generally, we call it as the persistent staging area. What happens once you activate your data source? Once you activate your data source, the system will create a PSA table. It will create a PSA table. Where is this one? Here I am. My document I miss. Yeah, okay, here. Okay, so whenever you create a data source and activate, what happens in the lower versions? It will create a PSA table. So your flat file data will be stored in the data source level. This data source, you can consider it as the extract structure. Just it is a structure only. We are building the structure first. So on top of the structure, once you activate the structure, the system will create one table, and you need to load this data from this flat file to this PSA table. That is the first staging area of the data in the BW system in the lower versions. Okay, so from the BW for HANA 7.5 onwards, there is no concept of PSA like this. There is no concept of PSA now. Straight away, you can load the data from flat file to the target object through the data structure, through the data source. Why do we need the data source here? Why cannot we bypass this data source? Right? There are two questions now. One is, first, in the lower versions, we want to reside our data in the BW layer at the data source level. Why? Because the PSA table, what happens here, whenever you load the data into the whenever you want to load the data into your target object, okay, always we take either the full load or delta loads, in the sense, if suppose you maintain here 10 records you maintain, okay, 10 records you maintain. Now the next day, suppose one more record it is coming, one more, in the sense 10 plus 1, 11 records you are loading. But out of these 11 records, one record is the new record. Now you want to load this 11 records into the target object, or just you want to add only one record to the target object, because already you have the 10 records in our target object. Just you need to load only the one record, right? That is the delta. Generally we call it delta, means change. Any changes are there, only those changes we want to process to the target object. So to deal with this scenario, deal with this scenario like delta or full load, we maintain the data source. That is the one important thing. So whenever the changes comes, those changes also we store at the PSA level. Say suppose 10 records first came, next 100 records came. Okay, it means 90 records we are adding to the PSA table. Next 1000 records came, it means 900 records we are loading. So the PSA table volume day by day increases, right? Number of records will be there. Every day we add the new records and with the new request, in the sense like whenever you are adding the data to this data source, the system will create a request. That request will hold the number of records. With that, it is nothing but a timestamp. It is nothing but a timestamp with the request number. So your request is attached to your number of records. Once you go to the request, and you can see that what are the records you have loaded by that request. That one we can do. We can see that one. Now, from the BW for HANA onwards, there is no concept of the PSA. That's why I am using the BW 7.5 system. Okay, so here what we can do, we load the data to the target. And of course, in the lower versions, actually, here what we do at this data source level, we use it to create one info package. This info package, once you execute, info package is nothing but again a program. Okay, one program that generally we call it as the info package. This info package will bring the data from flat file to the PSA table. Initially we create the view, we attach this flat file to this view, so that we generate the required fields here, whatever the settings required. We set all those settings here, like whether it will deal with the full data or delta, deltas, or what kind of file it will read, and whether the file is comma separated or colon separated, or number of header rows to be removed or not. So everything we specify here, so that we make sure to read the flat file by the data source in the proper format. Now from this flat file, from this data source to the target object, I am sending the data. As I said, in the lower versions, we use the info package to load the data from flat file to the PSA level. Okay. From here to here, now the scenario will come into picture. So in our case, what I have done, what our flat file structure is customer ID and customer name and region and sub-region, right? These four fields we are using. In fact, at this data source level, this is my table structure. Table structure in the sense data source structure. This is data source structure level, right? So target level also I maintain the same structure. That's what I have done. Why? Because just what I said to the system, I will maintain the same here. So same kind of table existing at the target level also. But this is what type of table this is? This is attributes table. That's what we have to remember. Okay, attributes table. This is, and we have the test table and we have the hierarchy table and the SID table also. Now this is my source. This one is the target. This is my target. This is my source. Now, source to target, when you are loading the data, first what we do generally, we need to map the fields, right? First, we need to map the fields. It means what are the fields are there, those fields, target fields and source fields, we have to map. So this is the way to map the fields. Not on this Excel sheet, I will show you on the system itself. Just for understanding, I am making this diagram. So like this, we have to map so that we can easily load our data into the attributes. But here question come into picture. Do you want to load the data as is, or do you want to do some transformations to your data? Transformations in the sense, suppose you are sending your data with 001, suppose. Okay, you are sending your data with 1, 2 or 3, like this you want to send. But in this target, I want to maintain cu0001, like this I want to maintain. Like this I want to maintain. Your flat file is having this kind of customer ID, but I want to maintain my customer ID like this. So to do this kind of, or to achieve this kind of requirement, SAP has provided one more functionality that is called transformation. I will keep one more layer here, but this is just a transformation layer. It won't hold your data at all. This is the transformation. This is a regular process. Any data warehouse system, you can see the same scenario actually. So here you need the transformation process. So instead of mapping your source to the target directly, what we do, we map our source to the in the transformation side. Okay, we bring our source and target tables into the transformation. We maintain the mapping and we maintain the required transformations in that transformation rules. Let us see how do I create a transformation and how do you connect the source to the target there. So here, if you go to the data source, right click. Okay, these are the options are there here. So now you go to the your object. What is this object? Object name is vehicle master. Info area is the vehicle master, right? Where is my object? And this is the vehicle master info area, and here why customer object I have created, right? So what I'm going to do here, right click, go to the new. Here you see transformation, right? And of course on your customer object and your characteristic info object, these many things you can do. We go one by one. Okay, whenever required we go one by one there. So currently first I focus on the transformation. I need the transformation because say suppose as I said in the excel template, as I said in this one, this source is having this kind of data, but I want to manipulate something that can be loaded to the attributes table. Here I'm talking of the attributes table. In fact, I will consider the info object as a single entity, but when I'm mapping to the this object, I will read the attributes table, select the attributes table from this object. That's what I have to tell to the system, right? So here, if you go here, I will go new and go to the transformation. See here, it is showing target because this is my target. Why customer is my target, right? That's why default the target the system itself selected here. Default target system itself selected here. Info object attributes. Of course, you can change if you want. If your table is not the attribute, or if your table is the test or hierarchy, whatever it is, you can select it. Now you give your object name. Object name already selected from here itself, but of course you can change your object name. That is the target object, right? So here source side object type it is asking your object is data source. Data source. So these many objects also can be the source objects. It means you can maintain attribute table as the source for the other attributes table. You can maintain hierarchy table as the source for the other hierarchy table also, or some other tables also. So these are all the sources here in your when you are creating the transformation. You can select the required source. Here I am selecting the data source because we know we are trying to load the data from the data source. What is my object name? Object name already we know, that is vehicle master ds. Let me find out this one. Okay, here itself, vehicle mass underscore ds. This is the data source. Okay, let us select. Once I select that one, the source system selected by the system system itself, right? source system selected by the system itself here. Okay, this is the transformation I am creating. See here, target object type info object, that is the my target object is the info object, but it should be the attributes. It means I am telling you select the info object, but in that info object what is your attributes table, that one you select as the, you consider as the target. Okay, the data source here we have selected as the source. That's fine. Let us come to the finish. Okay, this is the transformation screen. Here you see symbol transformation to horizontal triangles. It means mapping. The symbol itself is telling that we are mapping something here. And if you notice the general properties, notice the general properties here. Allow error handling for HANA routines. Check units. Your transformation is executed in HANA runtime environment. This is one important thing. In fact, how your transformation is happening, what is the program is running, where is that program is running. So here transformation routine, actually you can see HANA runtime environment is there and ABAP runtime environment is there. Two types of transformation environments. One is HANA routine and HANA runtime, and another one is the ABAP runtime. So here by default system has selected the HANA runtime environment. So here we are using the SAP HANA runtime. And if you notice here, you can see the general tab, right? And here is the rules tab. And it is showing the left side, it is showing the data source fields and target side customer it is showing. This is the one we have assigned, right? This is target already we know. This is the one we have assigned to the transformation. So we are telling to the system that here, hey, what is my source and what is my target? Target already we have defined here while creating the transformation itself. And now the customer also we have assigned to the transformation. So here just we need to map the fields. The system is initiated here, right? So how you map, just by you can directly drag and drop. This is the one method. Okay, the other method is here you see properties tab, right? Properties, if you click on it, okay, okay, so the target I have clicked on it. Here it is showing the role description. It is showing type no update. Go to the direct assignment, then you need to select the source object. Okay, you need to select your source object. What is your source object here? Let us take the region. I have added. So this is my target, direct assignment and region. Okay, this one not. Why? This is the one, right? Direct assignment, region, and then go to the third one, sub-region. Sub-region also the same thing, you can create your field. Subregion. Here is also I'm taking the direct assignment. Add your field here. Interesting, right? Is not okay. I have refreshed the screen, so that's why here I'm able to show you the role mapping fields. Okay, this is my source field and this is my source field. This region source field I'm mapping to the y region and sub region I'm mapping to the y sub region. That's fine. Very simple scenario we have taken, right? So as I shown in this Excel sheet, let us first assume with the same values first. We go with later we go with the complicated scenario. Okay, this is the cu001 I am entering and the rest of the values also I maintain in my flat file. That's what we have seen in our customer master. Where is this customer master? Yeah, oh, here it is, customer master. This is what we have done, right? So here this is the customer id, that's why id I mapped and the rest of the fields also I mapped. And now the rest of the fields also I mapped. Okay, so this is the transformation, first transformation, very simplified transformation here. Only you need to understand the settings what we are doing in this transformation file. If you again I'm going to the general, just to keep in mind like what are the settings we have maintained here. You see there are some interesting concepts: global routines, start routine, end routine, and expert routine. Okay, we discuss of these routines in one session. Okay, in the coming sessions, I will explain you how to write the routines and what is the importance of each type of routine in this transformation. So this is very, very important. If you are the fresher in the BW, then you must focus on these routines and bit of ABAP knowledge also you require for this one. Now, let me activate this object. See, whenever you create one object, you have to activate it. It is not simply saving the object. You have to activate. Then your metadata object will be stored in the backend DB. And yeah, I will tell you the later what is the importance of the local package and the package. Okay, now let us create this transformation. Here you can see the process activating the object. Once object are activated, you can see its version, active version. So now it is available in your active version. And of course, you can see one scenario here. Here you see the source side. This field I have skipped from the mapping, right? So source side you can skip from the mapping, but when it comes to the target side, either you need to mandatorily map to the source or you need to maintain a constant value. That's what here you can see: target field, role description, direct assignment. Here you can see one option, constant. Okay, later I will explain you after completing this simple scenario, because we are first focusing on very very basic simple scenario to understand how do we load the data into the BW system. So here I have activated, right? Now let us go and check. Let me refresh this object. Here you can see the refresh, right? Refresh. Once you refresh this one, you can see under this object you can see a transformation folder. You can see a transformation, right? It is showing what you mapped here. The first one is the transformation number. The next one is the data source and which object it has been mapped. Here it is showing, right? Okay, the transformation we have completed now. Now we need to load the data from this data source to the target object, target attribute through this transformation. This transformation, sorry, here let me add one more layer. This is the transformation layer. This is the transformation layer. Transformation. This is why. What is this CU00? Transformation we have maintained. Okay. See the source. Sorry, data source. The source is no longer required for us. Okay. So the transformation why we are using here. Here we are maintaining the mapping. Mapping, and we maintain routines also. We maintain the transformation routines. Here we maintain. So the using the transformation, just we are mapping data source to the target. What target we are mapping? Currently we are mapping to the attributes. Okay. Now okay, here data source also, let me change something here. In the data source, this is not the single data source actually. We are not pumping the data from the source file to the targets using the single data source. We are pumping the data from one data source to the one attributes table, right? Whether this data source is the attributes or test or hierarchy. So this one also we need to change for the better understanding purpose. I will add data sources. This is one data source. This is the another one. This is the another one. This is test. This one is again attributes, and this is hierarchy. Like this I maintain. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Now let us go to the transformation. We have completed the transformation. Now our job is to load the data from source to the target. Now I'm going with here. You see, if you select the transformation, you can see one process, the data transfer process. Actually, in your lower versions, info packages are there. As I said, like info package at data source level and info package at uh, target level. Again, later they change it, like the process info package runs at the data source level and DTP runs at the info provider level. Your info package always loads the data from source to the PSA table. That is the process in the lower versions. But in the BW 7.5 onwards, we are using the data transfer process here. So not from the 7.5, even the 7.4 also. So here you can see data transfer process, right? Not only from here, even you select your info object. Here also you can see the data transfer process. Now let us select this data transfer process. What happens here? The same kind of screen when you are creating the transformation process, the same kind of screen you have seen, right? Target and source. So the entire data warehouse system, always whenever you are running a process, always we need to think of what is my source, what is my target, what are the transformations. That's what source is, nothing but here extraction, and loading is nothing but what is the data target and what is the transformation. ETL, extraction, transformation, loading, where you are loading the data, extraction, from where we are extracting the data, and then what are the transformations we are doing. So these three processes we need to keep in mind when we are working with the data warehouse system. Here you see the target object system by default selected. We know that this is the attributes type object, and the object name also system collected from its name itself. Now data source. The system itself is showing the data source also. Why? Because here already we have created one transformation, right? So that's why system is able to identify its available transformations. From that available transformation, what are the data sources are there? Those data sources system collecting. See here we are not using any transformation in this data transfer process. What I'm trying to tell to the system, you collect the target, you collect the source, right? Just I'm selecting the target and I'm selecting the data source. So go to the next. It is showing now available. Yeah, available transformation it is showing now, right? The target and source available transformation. Now select finish. Okay, this is my data transfer process screen. This is nothing but a program, whether it is the DTP or transformation, whatever. We are creating the objects using the backend programs. So here you can see, if you understand, that it is showing standard can be scheduled, and for every object system will create one ID, technical name. This is the technical name, and it is showing, okay, this is my data source and this is my attributes table. So this is the RSDS object, data source object. This is, and the target and source it is showing, and extraction settings. Here you see extraction mode is the full mode it is showing. Why? Because in the data source level also we have selected the same mode. If you go to the data source, here you see no delta, only full. This is the delta process already we have selected at the data source level. That is the reason even in the DTP also you see extraction mode as the full mode. And here you see request selection. For now, everything is disabled, and package size 100k it is showing. It means for each read, how many records it will read from your source. And your processing mode is serial processing with the partial HANA execution in the dialog process. We will discuss all this process, all these things in the advanced stage. Let us first focus on the basic things. Overall status of the request, and automatically repeat read requests. Read request in the sense, if any errors comes, if you want to process them again while loading the data, then you need to check this one. Okay, so this is the first tab, general tab. Then coming to the extraction. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, DTP we have created, right? So here you can see general tab first, right? So in the general tab, you can see what is the package size, what is the processing mode, all these settings we can see. Then go to the extraction. If you go to this extraction tab, you can see very similarity with your data source screen. From here, if you go to the data source screen, data source extraction screen, you can see the similarity you can find in your DTP extraction screen also, like data separator, escape sign, date format, and what file name it is reading, and whether header rows are ignored or not. So these are the things you can find here. And this adapter is one important thing. Currently, we are reading the data from the local workstation. Even the data source level also, you can find this adapter, right? We can find this adapter, and already this full load already we have maintained in the general tab. It is showing, yes, this is the full load it is telling. So general tab showing the what type of mode it is, and rest of fields it is showing in the extraction tab. That's fine. Now coming to the update, what type of update we are doing here. Here you can see update settings for load records with new keys only, override sets with the same key in a data package, check referential and integrity of navigational attributes. This one also we discuss in our coming sessions. And here you can see the error handling, how your process will handle the errors. Error process objects cannot be generated for this target. Request handling, request is cancelled, records are not wrapped, and target is not uploaded. It means number of errors are 100, up to number of 100 errors it can do that one. And if any error is there, it won't process the request, just simply it will drop entire load without loading a single record into the target. That is the one. And runtime properties, these are all the things you can see. Okay, I will explain you one by one in the coming sessions of these tabs and importance of the each and every option here. For now, let us focus on simple thing. So a simple thing in the sense, simply we are trying to load the data into the target to understand it. After creating this DTP, you need to activate. Let us go and activate first. So I have activated. Now you can see the active version. Once it becomes the active version, you can see the execute icon here with the green sign. Let us run this execution. Once you click on that one, this is actually the BW old screen. This is all. Even once you connect it to the GUI, there also you can see this kind of screen. But we are able to trigger the same GUI screen from the HANA Studio. And here you see the processing mode, serial partial HANA execution dialog process. Here you see one is the debugging and one is the directly loading. And there is program flow, how your execution will happen, how your execution process takes place, like field data transfer, intermediate storage, prepare for extraction, data package loop, then extract your data source, then if any filters are there it will apply filter, and then filter out new records with the same key. This is the settings we have maintained in our in the general extraction, the other update tab. Then this is the transformation. Through this transformation it will reach your target. This is the program flow it is showing. So if any issues comes, then we go to this program flow, so that we can understand what is the how the system is loading the data, what are the steps it will take care, and where it gets failed, we can understand it. Now here you can see execute, right? Let us execute this process. Did I click on it? What happened? Yeah, Once you execute it, it will show start request. This date we are triggering. Select to OK. Now it is trying to access the file. System is attempting to access the following file. It means now it is reading your flat file from the local workstation. Select allow. Okay. Your request has processed successfully. Do you want to display the request monitor? Of course, let us see the request monitor here. So we have successfully loaded the data into our data target. Here you can see the request, how it got processed and how many records it has loaded. Data package 1, 10 records, and the data package 2, 0 records. Why? Because the data package itself, one itself, it has taken care of reading the number of records. I think we have given 100 like that records we have given in each data package, right? So data package 2, it is showing 0 records. That's fine. So every process once successfully processed, then it turns to the green, or else it will show you the red here. So in the details it is showing, and now here you can see a manage data source, and you can see the administer data target. The two options are there. So this is the data target and this is the source again. So our DTP has loaded the data from the data source to the data target. So from here you can see your data source and you can see the data target from here itself, right? Let us go and see the first data source, manage data source. If you go to this manage data source, you can understand if anything wrong happens, you can understand what are the configurations you have maintained. Here everything you can maintain, right? And if you go to the data target, administer data target, here, three times I have loaded the data. I mean, three times I clicked on that execute button. That's why it has raised three times a request, activation request. You can see here, right? With the different timestamps, it executed. Sorry, one request only there. These are the these requests I triggered at some other time. So today I requested this one, right? So this is the request. It is showing how many records it has loaded. It has read and loaded. And filter by status, you can see here, you can see some of the information. If you click on this request, you can see its information here. Okay, this is all fine, but we need to see the data, whether really this data has been loaded into our data target or not, right? So let us let us go to the table. Let us go to the table. To connect it to the table, we use the transaction code, either SC11 or SC16. Here I am going with /n SC16. This is my table, attributes table, right? So let us run and see. Yeah, 10 records we are able to load into this object. And one thing you notice here, all these objects are, oh, something wrong happened. Sorry. Not one letter. Skip four only. It is taking only four letters. Okay, this is the data length issue actually. Probably by mistake, we might have given the length for this region only 4 chars. That's why it took only the 4 chars. It read 4 chars and it loaded only 4 chars. I will rectify this mistake later. And here I maintain the data. This is all the data is in uppercase only. That is one thing you must remember. So in the BW system, when you are loading the I mean, your BW system will differentiate the test whether it is the lowercase or uppercase. Unless you specify to the object that you take the lowercase letters, it won't take. It will throw those records with the invalid records. So we have to specify when at the time of creation of info object itself, we have to specify that you consider the lowercase letters also. In the coming session, I will show you the transformation, how do we maintain. Say suppose in your flat file the data is coming with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, but how do we manage the transformation in the transformation structure. Okay, thank you, thanks for watching.